Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Artificial Intelligence. This is the third episode of the series, and as per usual on the podcast, I am joined today by my co-host, otherwise known as the alpha male host, Ben.
I am the deck to your ant. Yes. Hello, everyone. Week 3. Can you believe we've got here? Thanks for listening. We've been enjoying this. Have you been enjoying the podcast?
Oh, very much so. This has been a really, really awesome series to run, and we're only 3 weeks in. It's crazy. It's fun for me.
Today we're about to set up the levels because things are about to get controversial. Jay's been posting all sorts of things on Twitter, and we're going to
sorts of things. I mean, really.
One
tweet.
Yeah, I saw you liking some of your own videos earlier this week. I could not believe my eyes. No, we're going to be talking about what you tweeted out earlier this week in regards to sort of YouTube role models and how different YouTubers approach the site in different ways. But we're going to try and do it with quite a fair outlook. We're not going to be too harsh on anybody in particular.
No, not at all.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. First of all, though, we'll go to last week's show. Of course, we asked a couple of questions, actually. What would you do if you had control of 50 million people? It's a little bit... When I say it like that, it sounds worse than it did last week. And also what your favourite TV shows on CITV were. Now, first of all, we've got an answer from Jack. We'll come to yours in a minute, Jay. But Jack Elderton's been in the old comment section. Didn't call me a bellend this week, so that was nice of him. He didn't do it last week either. He said, number 1, Mexican Wave wins hands down. Of course, I went for the Mexican Wave. You went for the Secret Santa.
I did.
I mean, some people were well on board with that.
Oh, yeah, lots of people were.
I know.
I would say the majority of people were.
An annoying amount, I felt like. I was reading and thinking, you boring idiots. Hands down, purely for the moment that someone refuses to join in and ruins it. That's always an awkward moment with the Mexican Wave. We didn't even talk about that last week.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you see it going, and you can kind of anticipate, there's some people there in the posh seats of the stadium that won't be joining in. Oh, they've not joined in. They've killed it. And then everyone boos them, which, everyone comes together once again. Yeah, he also said he'd have loads of Olympic-style events with 50 million people just to see if anyone has any hidden athletic talent, which, I get it's getting more like Takeshi's Castle by the moment.
A little bit.
He also said, 3, he'd have to go with Jungle Run for CITV. Did you watch Jungle Run?
I didn't. I said this last week. I didn't watch Jungle Run. I didn't watch it at all.
It was good. It was like Crystal Maze for kids.
All right.
Yeah. Did you watch Crystal Maze?
No, that's the problem. That's probably why I want to enjoy Jungle Run.
Oh, okay. Well, there we are. Not a fan of either, everyone. All right, we'll read yours out then. Thank you, Jack, for your comment. But you read yours.
Once again, thank you to everyone for the comments, and also a big thank you to everyone that said that the Secret Santa idea was better than Mexican Wave, which it was. End of discussion. So the comment I got, which I really enjoyed, was from William McIntosh, who said, on the topic of YouTuber earnings, my issue with the more popular YouTubers is that they don't appear to care as much about their origins. For example, someone like yourself, Docs, you upload at least once a day unless you're too ill, and sometimes even when I'm too ill, seriously. And if
he's a trooper.
If you do anything wrong, you apologise over and over, showing you care a lot about the viewers. Meanwhile, there's Joe Weller and JJ, in brackets KSI. I like them both, but their uploads are very average these days, and in the last few months, they've both posted videos bashing their subs. It seems like people like them do YouTube purely for the money, rather than the original goal of entertaining, which I found kind of interesting because, first and foremost, I watch KSI. I don't watch Joe Weller anymore, but I think their videos are way above average. I don't think they would have got to where they are if they had very average uploads.
It's an interesting comment for you to pick up on, because I don't think we necessarily agree with the comment, but we're still willing to share the opinions of other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's an interesting. We're going to kind of move on to this now in the idea of that's going to lead us now beautifully into our topic this week, which is, should YouTubers kind of take on the role model mantra, and are YouTubers' uploads and sort of view counts, do they correspond with the content? Do you think it's interesting, because that's kind of what he's saying, that he's essentially saying they don't deserve these views because the videos aren't as good, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think if they've created an audience for themselves and they are appealing consistently and continually to that audience, then it's your opinion, really. It's just you sort of stating it as these videos aren't very good is one thing, but actually it's just you maybe aren't a fan of them as you once were. Maybe you got a bit older, it didn't appeal to you as much, maybe you found something else you enjoyed. I don't necessarily think it's that they're any worse, they're just maybe not appealing to you in the same way, which I think they'd be fine with. And I don't think you should mind that much.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, to be honest, when you look at someone that you used to be a fan of but no longer are, for example, with William saying Joe Weller and KSI, you like them both, but their uploads are very average these days. I don't necessarily think that it's a case of their videos have got worse, if you will. It may just be the fact that you have just found them less appealing to you as you've gotten older.
Expectations get higher as well. The bigger they grow, I feel like the expectation level grows, and that's difficult for sometimes that can be difficult for a YouTuber to then live up to the expectation of a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Do you think that plays a part in this?
I think so. I think so because you realise you've got a wider target audience now. You have like a different, a more, just more people to entertain from all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different people, and you have to try and appeal to each and every one of those as well as you possibly can. And you know, when you know your audience so well, I've always found this, especially in my case, I've always found I was able to not necessarily connect with my audience better when I was a smaller YouTuber, but I understood them better, if you know what I mean, because I realised it was the same sort of smaller community. As the community grew, I found it harder and harder to keep up with sort of what my main audience demographic was, and I found it more difficult to, sort of tailor my content to what I believe their, sort of needs were, if you were.
Yeah. Do you feel like you do that now? Do you feel like you're tailoring your content to your audience? Obviously, the people listening to this, by and large, will be your audience. So do you feel like, I guess they would say the same thing, that they're probably a better judge than you are in many respects.
Yeah.
But are you trying to tailor it to what they want? Or do you, because a lot of people, I think there is a change in people's mentalities that it becomes a point, and this might be the case with Joe and JJ, that they've decided, actually, what we'd quite like to do is do what we want, and if people then still like what we like doing, then that's great. So they kind of move away from the thing that they're sort of popular for and just do the things they enjoy. Are you someone that is doing the videos you would like to watch and that you would enjoy, or are you at the same time trying to sort of, you've got an audience and you respect that they're here to watch a certain thing? Because I'm a mixture of the two. No, I'm a mixture of the two, so I want to know what you think.
I would say that I'm a mixture of the two myself, but I would say I lean probably more to the latter than the former.
Yeah.
I do content which I think is something which I would enjoy. But for the most part, I recognise that my audience have got me to where I am right now, and I think it's not that I think it'd be disrespectful to basically turn my back on them and say, sod this, going to do what I want, not what you want. But I do respect that their support has got me to where I am right now, and therefore I think it's only fair that I give them what I believe that they would enjoy as well as what I enjoy as well. Yeah. So I think it is quite a healthy mix, but I think it's true. Sometimes I can be a little bit too submissive in that regard and be a little bit, okay, I'll do what you want today and know what I want. When, for example, I've said before, when I started YouTube, I wanted to be an Ultimate Team YouTuber and play online because I prefer it. My channel is basically majority offline videos now because I understand it's what my audience want. Their support was what encouraged me to do more offline content. So I just kept going because I realized that it's what they want to see. And,
so you developed into a career mode YouTuber. You didn't start out as a career mode YouTuber.
No. My first videos were Ultimate Team. Yeah, absolutely. So,
in regards to that, do you think that, actually, well, first of all, I will explain my side of it as well. I think different times, because you started your FIFA channel a lot earlier than me. So you're the way FIFA grew for you was interesting because it was very much kind of a little bit of everything that everyone did, and then Ultimate Team seemed to take over and become sort of the dominant force, and you've stuck with career mode. There's a few of you guys that have, and you've stuck with it. Whereas with my side of it, with doing Football Manager, there's this feeling that because the community is very small at large, there's not loads of people doing it, and there aren't a lot of people doing different things within it. Everyone does a very quite a similar thing. It's in that respect, when people do sort of different things, it's quite easy to stand out in that. And I think with FIFA, there's more of a saturation, and it's a lot more difficult to stand out in your community. I mean, disagree or agree at this point?
Well, I mean, I do agree. I do agree, but I also think I don't want to say it's easier to succeed doing FIFA. But I think it is harder to gain a bigger following on Football Manager, and that's why I've always said that those that do Football Manager may venture into FIFA at some point, like you yourself have now done, in order to get a nice blend on the channel and to appeal to a wider range of people. And again, I think that's quite similar to what we were discussing earlier with Joe Weller and Joe Weller and KSI.
We'll come on to JMX later.
In Joe Weller and KSI, in the sense that you may think that they've sort of added more things onto their channel that, for example, William said that he was not a fan of. But it's because it's wanting to appeal to a greater target audience in order to entertain more people. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
It's also you don't want to like, I think as a creative person like myself, I've been doing a Football Manager for 2 years, so I thought, well, I'll just try a FIFA series, and if people like it, then great, and if they don't, then they don't have to watch it. It was kind of my attitude. And as someone that's done sort of over 650 or whatever it is, I think I've done over 650 Football Manager videos.
Wow.
To add something in which is a little bit different, I think's fine. And again, I say again, like, if you want to watch it, great. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. But for me, it was a big risk, because when you decide to do Football Manager, you're essentially saying, I'm not going to be a FIFA YouTuber, which, like, you might think that in itself, that's quite a strange concept, because when you pick, obviously they're both football games, one is vastly different than the other. One is a lot more kind of, basically, as I've said it before, you're essentially watching me play a spreadsheet, which, I mean, it's my job to make it as entertaining as possible and make it seem like a sort of an entertaining video series. But the difference between that and like live sort of FIFA gameplay, or whether you're doing career mode or anything like that, is vastly different. So to gamble essentially and say to my audience that we're already there for Football Manager, still watch me do something else, was at the time was something like, I debated it for a couple of years. I could have done it the year before and decided not to, because I just didn't think the timing was right. But it became the sort of the sense at the start of the new game that why not give it a go, why not try it out. But at the same time, it is a gamble, and I think for these bigger YouTubers, they take gambles, and for some of them it works out, and for some of them it doesn't work out, and they have to go back to what they were doing before. I think there's been some really good examples of a lot of FIFA YouTubers have gone into doing real life football stuff, and that was kind of a way it went, and the audience, a lot, like for the majority of the time, have gone with that and gone great. But you saw the reaction, like when JJ KSI put up music videos, his initial audience reacted quite badly to it. And then there became like a greater understanding of, actually, he's just a guy that's became popular doing this and just wants to explore different avenues. And I think people started to sort of give him a little bit more time and a little bit more credit for what he was doing.
Rightfully so,
But I think there are certainly different examples of people that change what they do because an audience then sort of dictates what they do. And this kind of brings us on to what you tweeted about earlier this week. Now, how did this comment come about? You see a post on Reddit? Was that?
Well, I saw a post on Reddit, and for those who don't know, I browse Reddit FIFA careers as well. If you're following those subs, then you might see me.
If you're not on Reddit, get on Reddit, Jay. That's what I would say. Reddit's great.
It's really good. I really like Reddit. So I browse and lurk quite a lot, but I also post sometimes on Reddit FIFA from Reddit FIFA careers, and I've seen quite a lot of posts regarding FIFA YouTubers being bashed, particularly over the past few months. And it always frustrates me because I'm on this side, you know what I mean? I'm on this side of FIFA YouTubers, and I feel not obligated to sort of like defend them or say something, but sometimes just to offer an opinion, if nothing else, to sort of like offer my perspective from this side. And I saw a post regarding a certain FIFA YouTuber who I'll mention by name, JMX. And the post,
a YouTuber that comes under quite a lot of criticism, JMX.
Very much so. And this post, simply put, I think the title was actually something like the cancer of the FIFA community, which is a strong statement to make.
Bit strong, I would say. Yeah. Let's start off by saying little bit strong.
It was. The post was a total cancer to the FIFA community, which I thought was extremely strong, and a bit too much, in my opinion. Regardless of what your opinions are on someone, to call them a total cancer to a community that they're part of, I mean, that is extremely critical. And people have done worse things. I don't think this should be categorized. But this kind of then fell around you leaving a comment about sort of how you feel about. Was it about him or just about? I think it started off being about him, but then it merged into how a certain side of the FIFA community, I don't want to say treat their audience, but approach their audience with their uploads. Fair? It was mainly a point regarding the criticism on him, but also a general point as well. About the criticism that I see often on Reddit about.
Shall I read it out, Joe?
My comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, in regards to this post, you replied, should I do it in your accent?
I mean, I don't want to hear this, but I mean, you can if you'd like to try.
So what? Sorry, no. Sorry. That wasn't it. So what? He's rich, earning so much money, and has no obligation to be a role model. We'll sort of talk about that in a moment. I've spent over 5 years on YouTube trying to be a good influence and a positive, respectful person to watch, and I'm sure I'm less than 5% of. I earn less than 5% of his annual income as of right now. I earn way more than JMX for anyone that's interested.
Sure.
I can only just afford to pay the bills. Nobody cares about who you are on YouTube anymore, or what morals you have, or how hard you try. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago they did, but due to the amount of choice available on the site, there's no need to support your favourite hard luck but hard-working content creator when you can get exactly what you search for. People watch videos that they're interested in, and JMX knows his demographic. Young boys like adrenaline-filled stuff, things that are immature but amusing to them, and pretty girls sitting around in their bras and knickers. I mean, I'm on board with that. He knows this, so he gives it to them. And whether you like it or not, whether you think it's highly inappropriate or not, it doesn't matter. He can get away with it, so he will continue to get away with it because it's easy money, and the alternative simply isn't appealing to someone who has no reason to care about their influence when the money keeps on coming month after month. Maybe put that graphic on screen at the same time, Jay, so people can follow it along. Sure. And you covered quite a lot there, and I think on one side you're somewhat critical of the content that he makes, and you think that you've kind of described it as it's quite easy to make it, but at the same time it appeals to his demographic. So
absolutely, yeah.
As we spoke about before, YouTubers go through this life cycle of like we spoke before we started recording that I'm sure he didn't start his YouTube channel with the idea of I'm going to get attractive girls to come on and sit in their underwear.
Yeah. I'm
sure that wasn't like his. I mean, that's every boy's dream, I would say, but that wasn't the reason he would start YouTube, and it wasn't something that was. I don't think it was like fully on YouTube for a while. I think there have been certain YouTubers that had done something with attractive women, but not to the extent that he kind of labels it strip FIFA. He's never asked me to be in one of his videos. Interestingly, no.
Awful.
Still waiting for the call. Sexist. I think that's the real issue I've got, because get me involved. And I mean, don't get me involved. I'm saying no one wants to see that. Okay, I don't think so. Not all of his videos would be age restricted, but that one would be. Let me tell you now. But this then, the interesting thing I think about your comment is that I agree with parts of it and I disagree with other parts of it. That well, I don't think. Well, you bring up the fact he earns a fair amount of money. Which he does, but again, if you're appealing to your demographic, then there's not that much wrong with that. The question comes in, though, is that if you're influencing, and this is where the role model aspect comes in, that if you're influencing your viewers, and your viewers are of a certain age, is it the YouTuber's responsibility to essentially self-manage their content, whether it be inappropriate in terms of being I mean, people have described it as soft porn. I wouldn't go as far as that. I don't think it's quite at that level, because I mean, for anyone that's seen it, they'll know there's a difference. But it is potentially not appropriate for kids of certain ages. I don't know. I'm sure these kids would go, nah, it's fine. I'm having a great time. But in the sort of the broader scheme of things, is that representation of women something that we should be influencing on young men? And I think that might be slightly where your sort of frustration comes in.
Yes, partly. I mean,
go on, explain it more, because I think people are interested in your thoughts on this.
Okay, well, I mean, for me, like, first and foremost, my point, I found it actually quite ironic that some people didn't seem to understand what I was trying to say. My point really was that he does have no obligation to be a role model, because YouTubers don't have an obligation to be a role model. Like, my personal opinion is that we don't have an obligation to be a role model.
Okay, so do you think YouTubers become? I'm going to chip in here to sort of give people a broader perspective. Sure. Do you think YouTubers become role models or start out as them? Does anyone start YouTube wanting to become a role model, or does the size of your audience, sort of lead you to become one?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. I do.
So just quickly. So at which point do you think the YouTuber should take responsibility?
I would say when they get enough of a following to be regarded as an influence.
Okay. But carry on. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, just threw me off completely there. I forgot where I was.
Right. Just come back in at any point.
Yeah. So essentially, my opinion has always been this: like, I don't watch that type of content because it's not appealing to me, but it is appealing to young kids. And as I said in my post, really, it's because young kids like adrenaline-filled stuff, things that are immature but amusing to them, and pretty girls sitting around in their bras and knickers. And you've basically described Football Manager at that point. That's pretty much the Football Manager community
It's pretty much that is it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, guys, head on over. But I'll tell you, that is
it features quite a lot. I mean, like, personally speaking, as I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with promoting that. But you made a very good point, just as you were ending there, when you said, is it on the YouTuber themselves to sort of manage their promotion of that? Is it right for them to age restrict it and so on? And whilst I don't have a problem with that sort of content being uploaded to YouTube at all, quite seriously, I have no problem with that content being uploaded to YouTube at all. I do have a problem with it not being age restricted and also targeted at younger viewers. I do have a problem with that. Quite frankly, just because I do think it is, you said it's potentially inappropriate. I think it simply is inappropriate for young kids. We're not talking about teenage boys who will, start watching porn anyway on the internet. Regardless of whatever age, we're talking about very young kids, and I mean very young kids. I myself know that there are kids that watch me that can be as young as 6, 7, 8 years old, and that's young. That's very, very young.
I don't remember being that age. That's how young it is. It's so long ago.
Yeah, it's quite a while for me as well. I mean, I'm 24 now, so I am finding it hard to remember myself at that age. But I do remember at that age, I was not watching something which was the equivalent to strict FIFA,
No, YouTube wasn't around, Jay, so you couldn't have done.
No, definitely not. But it's because I realised that content simply would, as you said there, content would not have been available to me. But it is available to kids nowadays at that age because that's the world we live in nowadays. And I do believe that it is a YouTube responsibility to say, okay, I have this content. It's good content. I believe it's good content. I want to, post it to YouTube. I want people to watch it. But I do understand that it's probably not ethical for me to promote it to the very young kids that do follow me. And that's why I always believe that if this content is age restricted and people can only watch it if they are, it's 18 plus on YouTube, isn't it? 18 plus? It's 18 plus? I think it is.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Then that's fine. That's totally fine. Yes, of course, you won't get as many views because not everyone that watches your videos have a YouTube account, so they won't be able to watch it. Obviously, not everyone would have a YouTube account that is of that age. But I think that's a precautionary measure to take, which prevents you from coming across as unethical and exploiting the very young kids simply for views, because it's the type of thing that they will eventually fall into at some point and want to click on. But also,
can I provide a bit of balance there?
Yeah, sure.
If I'm JMX, I'm uploading. I'll take it from his perspective because he is someone that does this. He's not. Actually, we should clarify. He's not the only person that does this.
Absolutely not.
As he's probably the most sort of notorious person.
Well, my post regarding JMX is because that was the person that was on the Reddit post. Yeah.
The question comes on this sort of content is it really on the creator, or actually is this a wider problem with YouTube? And are YouTube setting the boundaries, and are they setting what's right for people under 18 to watch? And if they are setting those boundaries, are they strict enough? And I think that calls into question what YouTube really want to see. Do they want to see this sort of content, or do they also want to push the more sort of family-friendly content? Now, of course, as you sort of point out in your post, that there's so much choice on YouTube now that, generally speaking, you can go and watch whatever you want. So, as an audience viewer, it's great. Like there's so many different things you can watch. You can watch people do football videos. You can watch people just do pure FIFA. You can watch people do sexy FIFA, I'm going to call it. You can kind of do whatever you want. Sexy FIFA. That makes it sound good. I'd watch a bit of sexy FIFA now and then. And we're now left in the situation of, is it actually his responsibility, or does it come down to the site? And is there any blame there, or actually is it just, are we being too critical? Is the question I'm asking. Are we actually being too critical, or is this just something that you personally think should be maybe put a little bit more, there should be more reins on it, essentially?
I think it's both, really. I think for starters, we should see YouTube do more to make sure this content is age restricted themselves. I don't know exactly how they would be able to do that. That's the problem, though, and that's why I think that this is a YouTube problem, isn't it? YouTube YouTube generally are pretty shit at what they do. Like they're a bit lax, like most of these things. They don't seem to have anyone working for them, which to me is if it appears that your company don't have anybody working for them, then not very good. If you went to a chip shop and you just look behind it and go, "Yeah, I'll have cod," and no one's there. It's like, well, hang on, is anyone working here? It feels a bit like that with YouTube sometimes. You're like, can you flag this video, please? Yeah. Hello? Can we flag this video? Hello? And no one responds. It's odd. But then, do we put it? If that's the case, then if we know that if we are intelligent enough to know that YouTube, in terms of their moderation of videos, is extremely poor and extremely lax, don't you think that's on us as content creators to say, well, then, with that being the case, it's time for me to say, well, I know the age of some of my viewers. It's a good thing that they don't see certain parts.
Well,
I mean,
again, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, but if he's not breaking the rules, then he's not breaking the rules. And you can choose to watch it or not. But again, it comes down to the moral thing of, should they be watching it? Is it appropriate? And that's kind of the question. I think we should ask the audience, like, what do you think? Who wants to be a millionaire style? What do you think about this? Do you think that it should be more moderated? It should be age restricted? Does it fall on the YouTuber? These are questions I would love to know the opinions of people that watch FIFA videos. I don't want to know. Like, I should say now, I'm not particularly like jealous or bitter towards JMX. He's not appealing to an audience that I have or would ever have. So, and you're probably the same. Like, he's not appealing to the career mode audience. So you're not trying to like steal viewers or take viewers away from him. We're just talking about the topic. So for anyone that gets sort of annoyed and thinks that that's the direction we're taking, absolutely no. It's something that is spoken about a lot in the FIFA community. It's a topic that Jay feels quite passionately about. I've got an interesting viewpoint on as well. And I'd love to know what people think.
Well, I think, as I said to someone that replied to my tweet actually on Tuesday, as I said during my post towards the end of it, whether you like it or not, or whether you think it's inappropriate or not, it simply doesn't matter at the end of the day. This is a possibility. He's not breaking any rules, as you alluded to there. And therefore it's not on him to sort of to play the role model, if you will. Do I believe that he needs to do this? No, I think he's more than good enough as an entertainer not to resort to something which is not exactly cheap, but is sort of exploitation. I don't think he needs to do that. He's good enough at entertaining himself to not need to worry about it. But again, I don't necessarily believe that. He's not breaking any rules. He's not doing anything illegal per se.
It just doesn't sit right with you. That's how it sounds.
It doesn't sit right with me if it's advertised towards kids, because again, I think there's certain things that certain ages of kids should not be viewing. But again, as I said earlier, we're not obligated to be role models, and he is not exception to that. And that's why I took issue with the post, because again, it's kind of funny how some people sort of saw it as me having a diss. It's not at all. I'm actually trying to, not justify what he's doing. Obviously not.
You're trying to create some balance.
I'm trying to defend the fact that people are sort of pushing this role model agenda on him, like, oh, you're just doing it for the money, or this is inappropriate, whatever. It may be inappropriate, but it's not illegal. It's not something which YouTube clearly have some issue with. Otherwise, they would automatically age restrict it or do something about it. And he's not obligated to be a role model, just like I'm not obligated to be a role model. That's how people may see us, but we're not obligated to be that way.
And I'd just like to thank Page 3 for sponsoring this feature on artificial intelligence.
Much better.
Thank you. I will level with you now, audience. He cut out what I said in the first place. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. Right, okay. I've been restricted. I've been age restricted by Docklanders. He can't believe I did it. And he didn't even hear it. Okay, let's move on then. We're going to talk a little bit about football as well. And actually what we're going to talk about, which is an interesting topic, as we've sort of focused on Christmas a lot during this podcast, but actually we're going to talk about the winter break. This podcast can be a little bit longer, folks. You've asked for it. We're making it longer. The winter break in football, Jay, slightly different from what we've just spoke about, but what do you make of the winter break? Would you want a winter break?
Honestly,
there's calls for a winter break.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be calls every year, really. Everyone always.
Do you care, Jay? Is what I'm asking. Do you care about winter break? They're on £100,000 a week. I don't care if they win a break. They're not all on £100,000 a week. Should be clarified. League Two players are not on that amount of money.
If only. I don't think that, well, first and foremost, this topic always comes around year after year because it's the same sort of thing. There's too many games, etc., etc. We need a winter break. But my point is always this: if you have the winter break, you do realise you still got to play those games at some point, right? It's like if you go away for 3 weeks, you still do have to play them at some point. And when you think about it, there's still going to be fixture congestion at some point because in this country, I think personally speaking, we play too many games as it is. In the Premier League, league, we have 38 games a season. In the Football League, of course, it's more, it's 46. And of course, when you throw in the FA Cup, the EFL Cup as well, obviously this year, lower league clubs playing in the rubbish checkered trade trophy, which I'm so glad we're out of. I can't believe I'm saying that. And obviously for the bigger clubs as well, there's European games as well. Now, if you say let's have a winter break and not play for 3 or 4 weeks across Christmas, those games are going to be pushed into February, March, and around those times when you're still going to have games on anyway. I don't think the winter break is the problem. I think it's just the fact there are just, in general, too many games per season.
Interesting. Well, do you know, I wasn't expecting that answer. It's a good answer, though. You are right. It will do that. I guess the argument to that is that while they do have to play more games, they will have had a 3-week break or a 2-week break, which, for like a rest and recuperation thing, for a Premier League football or any football or any level probably, is quite useful. And I don't know. Obviously, they do it in other countries. There's only 2 times. I love the winter break though. Only 2 times it's ever brought up. Every time we're knocked out by Iceland or anyone in a tournament, as soon as England are knocked out, right, winter break, get it on the back page immediately. Or during the winter when everyone's feeling a little bit cold, and they're going. It usually happens after like a cold night in Stoke, and someone's gone. Shall we have a break in winter? Shall we stop this? Shall we be at home with a cup of cocoa? I'm not really feeling it today. I don't really care if we have a winter break or not. I know that sounds really kind of non-opinion, and we've talked about it, and I've sort of gone, I don't really care. But I don't think that the national team would vastly improve. I don't necessarily think the quality of the Premier League would improve.
Agreed.
And while it would make us fit in with Germany and other countries that do it, I think Scotland have one as well, don't they? I don't know how much of a real influence it would have, or how much impact it would have upon Premier League football. I dare say I'd like to see it tried sort of 1 year, but while we try it, I do think, like I've mentioned to you before, Jay, if we do have a winter break, I want to see footballers doing other things. I don't want to see footballers actually having the time off. I'm thinking quiz shows.
Sure.
I'm thinking public appearances.
Right.
Maybe Total Wipeout.
Oh, yeah.
Get them on Total Wipeout. Let's put some real athletes on Total Wipeout. It's all well and good seeing Derek from Basingstoke, run across those bouncy balls, but I want to see how Jermaine Defoe gets on. Because I think Jermaine Defoe would be fantastic at the bouncy balls.
You're right.
You're not telling me Fellaini wouldn't be good. That wall, which keeps sort of punching you, right? He does that on the pitch anyway, tasting his own medicine. I'm thinking, get him out there. I want to see footballers doing other things. Family Fortunes. You could have the Redknaps versus the Nevilles.
Sure.
There's so many options here, Jay. I don't think we're exploring enough of them.
No.
While it's all well and good, footballers playing every week, I want to see, much like you in this podcast, Jay, I want to see them out of their comfort zone, talking about their own stuff. I want to see them on Pointless. I want to see them on Question Time. Right. I want to see footballers everywhere. Because if they're not playing football, they're not doing enough to earn the wage, all right? I don't think having turkey dinner is a good enough excuse to not be playing football. I want to see other things happening. What would you like a footballer to do? I've thrown it at you.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't expecting this.
For what I would want to see like a footballer do, why not community service in some way? Like they're earning enough money, so get them doing some manual labour jobs, helping around on farms around country or something.
Joey Barton could lead it. Joey Barton could lead it. He's got experience.
Sure. Yes, of course he does.
That makes sense. He can lead it. He can go, right, boys, over here. That's John. Everyone say hi, John.
He knows what he's doing. He knows the community.
He does. He knows the community. Community service is a good one. I just think there's so many things they could do that we're not thinking about. I'd like to see maybe get them in the jungle, a couple of them.
We dehumanise footballers some way, but like quite seriously, if we were to have them doing public jobs just for a week or two, you'd start to humanise them again and realise they're just like you and I.
Yeah. Can I have a single into town, please? Hang on, are you Ryan Shawcross? What are you doing here? It doesn't make any sense, does it?
Keep them busy.
Yeah, you get handed your post. It's like, oh, thank you very much. Roberto Firmino? What on earth are you doing? Yeah, that hat does not suit you. Let me say that for you for nothing. Just seeing footballers really out of where they would normally be. I would love that so much. Pull up to your Tesco till. You just pile it in.
I would be in favour of a winter break if I saw Marcos Rojo doing the checkout at Audi. Like, I would be
imagine that. He'd be throwing stuff in the bags though. He'd be getting he's already quite angry. He'd be going, yeah, that's 40. I can't do Argentinian.
No,
He'd
that's
go,
all.
£40, please. He'd look at it and he'd go, disgusting. Just put it in the till. He'd be appalled by it. No, I think this is another good question. First of all, give us your opinion on YouTube role models, but also we'll read the best ones out next week. Footballers doing jobs during the winter break. I think have them on gritter duty. I mean, make good use of them.
Oh dear.
Why not gritter? Gritter duty is a perfect one. I think that's a good one. What else could you do? I'm just thinking of all that. There's so many. Do you watch? I've got so many possibilities in my mind. Get them on Jungle Run. I mean, reference to last week. What else could they do? I think get them on panel shows. Get them on quiz shows.
Yeah.
And also get them out and about doing real jobs. Ryan Shawcross, bus driver. Roberto Firmino, postman. Who else? I'm trying to think of footballers that would fit jobs really well.
Yeah.
Have you got any? Have you got any good ones?
Trying to think of some.
Wayne Rooney, Old People's Home. Sorry, too
Brilliant.
soon.
No,
So I say too soon. At least 10 years, isn't it? Oh, dearie me. You could have
Peter Crouch, Shell Stacker. That would work.
shelf stacker. I like that's very generic. That's not. Look, Peter Crouch being a shelf stacker is not just for Christmas, Jay. It's for all year round because he's tall enough. It's got nothing to do with the winter. You just got he's tall. He can stack shelves, which is annoying. It's like when you see tall people, or do you play basketball? They just want to punch you in the face. Well, that's what he would say. So yeah, I think we've explored all the options. But if you've got any more that you'd like to see footballers do, it doesn't just have to be Premier League. It could be any footballer if you like. So there we are then. I think that's quite a short topic. Winter break, we don't care what we've decided. We'll talk about another football. We'll sort of focus more on football, I think, next week as the football fixtures start to round up and get very exciting around this Christmas period because there's no winter break, everyone, because we don't need it. Right, shall we ever so slowly wrap this up?
Yeah, sure. I just want to say, as we are in today's episode, once again, a big thank you for listening. This is the third episode, but I am having so much fun producing these podcasts. They really are enjoyable for me to make. And as per usual, thank you to Ben for coming on today. I appreciate it very, very much.
It's all right, yeah. I'm doing my community service, so...
You're doing your part.
Yeah.
Next week, Marcos Rojo, so...
Yeah.
No.
I've done it in 5 minutes, Jerry. You carry on. Sorry, go on, carry on. Apologies.
So yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys. I really do appreciate it. Regarding what we talked about earlier as well, I do want to say everyone is welcome to their own opinion, and I would like to hear your opinions in the comment section down below as well. And again, I really do appreciate the listen, as always. Means an awful lot. And again, a big thanks to Ben for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. I think if you have got opinions on the topics we've talked about, then do realise we're not being offensive. We're just trying to be quite balanced. And I think having a balanced opinion on YouTube and letting people know our opinions on it is a good thing. It shouldn't be deemed as a negative thing. We're not trying to create any drama. We're just talking about it, creating a discussion point. Don't hate anybody. Okay, everyone relax, everyone calm. If you've written a horrible comment, think about deleting it. All these options. So yeah, as I say, pleasure for coming on. See you again next week.
Yep, absolutely.
Jay, quick question.
Yeah.
Still haven't been paid for any of these yet.
Well, you'll be getting paid when you start delivering what I brought you over here for. How's that?
Ah, dearie me. Okay. Now I know how Fernando Torres felt with Chelsea.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Much love to you all. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you for another episode of Artificial Intelligence next Friday.